Well, that phrase that we see translated as with your minds ready for action can literally be translated as gird up the loins of your mind. Gird up the loins of your mind. What in the world does that mean? Right? That is not a phrase that we use every day. All right, so back in that time, in that culture, remember, men wore long robes. All right, and so if they needed to get somewhere quickly, if they were going to have to run somewhere, which would not be often because running for men back then was undignified, but if they were going to have to run somewhere, they would have to pick up their robes. And so they would come, they'd gather it all up and kind of hold it in their arms, making some type of short situation out of their robe, right? And so then they would run, holding all of this, they would run. But it was this idea that they were picking up, getting rid of all of the loose ends, getting all of that out of their way. Anything that was going to cause them to stumble and fall, they would get that out of the way, all right? So to gird up the loins of your mind, to be ready for action in your mind, mentally prepared, it means that we would need to get rid of loose or sloppy thinking. In other words, we want to get rid of those idle thoughts. We want to get rid of those thoughts that lead us down the path of temptation. We want to get rid of those thoughts that cause us to stumble, those thoughts that ultimately lead us to sin, whether that's worry, whether that's hatred, whether that's lust. We want to get rid of those thoughts that ultimately are going to cause us to sin. We want to get rid of loose or sloppy thinking. We're girding up the loins of our minds so that we can be ready for action. Well, what